What is up, Wizards? It is Dev from the place. On this fine day, we have a fine guest. It is PowrDragn from his place. He's from a completely different place.
Hold on. I don't know about fine because I did not get voted time sexiest man in the world or whatever that thing was. It was definitely not me.
It'll happen. Well, you keep making the ballot. You'll get there, man. You are fine. You are what my wife would say. She'd put an O in it. You are fine.
Okay, there you go. That
yeah, exactly. Anyway, man, we've got stuff to do today. We are going to talk about the overrated Spider-Man picks that we made. And I honestly, I've gone over these one time and I'm still not really sure how we did. So do you remember?
I remember the cards. I don't remember. Like, we'll have to talk because there's some that weren't but became and some that people tried and then weren't. So like, it's going to be a little bit weird here on this one.
Happens a lot. I don't know how much credit we can take for any of this because I don't really know how much Spider-Man moved the needle overall. You know what I mean?
But yeah, that's the other issue too with this one. Generally, we talk about, well, some might be good later or whatever, because, you know, even all the Spider-Man stuff is going to have the benefit of Lorwyn, assuming having changelings.
Right.
So that could affect the quality of a lot of these cards for various reasons.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah. There's at least one of these cards too that you called overrated, but said like, oh, we're going to have to wait until these other cards come out. And those cards haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
So it's hard to judge whether we were correct that it's over or underrated. I think that ultimately you're right about that one, but we're going to go ahead and get to the beginning of the start at the beginning, as they say.
Yeah.
And the first pick was yours. Do you have that one in front of you?
Oh, that was Cosmic Spider-Man, wasn't it?
Man.
Yeah. This is a weird one, or I guess Scion of the Spiders or whatever. Depending
I don't know what like any of these are called.
Yeah, depending on which one it is. But the interesting thing on this one is, I think the card ended up being playable, but I don't think it was great, right? And I think when we're talking about overrated, it's because there's hype, the price is high on it, and everybody's saying, okay, this will be the card a lot of people are playing. And really, it occasionally shows up in a deck. Like, I've played it in some weird decks using changelings that we have now with like the sliver stuff or whatever. I've used it in just being the top end of a deck that happens to have a fair amount of spiders because of multi-lands and stuff. And it's reasonable, but I do think this is fair to say it was overrated because I don't even think it showed up in the top 8 of any of the major tournaments at all. Yeah, not even a copy.
I haven't seen it in a challenge or anything, but I have seen Cosmic Spider-Man deck at least one time on MTGO League, get a 5-0. Okay. But, you know, we were just talking before we hit record that the 1-5-0 in League, any given Sunday, any deck can do it because you just got perfect matchups or draws or your opponent's flooded or whatever it is. So I'm not sure what happened with that. I don't think it really counts. But this is obviously like, it's had all the hallmarks to me of, you know, big commander, mythic 5-color guy from the set that won't do anything in standard. For what it's worth, I see it on Arena every now and again, but that's like the end of the story. I don't know if this card has ever actually done anything against me, and I haven't played it. I played Selesnya Spiders, but I didn't actually have the stones to waste mythic wild cards on this.
Sure.
So I'm not really sure how good it is because I've never had it in play, but I've seen it in play a couple times. It didn't really do much.
When it sticks, it's great.
But it seems like it'd be fun to have.
But realistically, I think it's one of those ones you almost have to revisit once we get to Lorwyn, right? Because any changeling will get the benefit of this.
Yep. And I'm wondering if we'll get even more, you know, I guess, land support, for lack of a better word, in Lorwyn, if we get Reflecting Pool or something back again in that set.
Yeah, maybe.
But we already do have a decent mana base for a lot of these, you know, creature type matters decks. And I'm just not sure that spiders have the best creatures at the lower end right now. So you might be right that we get to Lorwyn. Things changeling a little bit in that department. But for now, this isn't like, even as like a top of the curve lord for a creature type matters deck or changelings deck or something, I don't think it's anywhere near as good as like, say, a Joda would be. And Joda rarely saw like real play in standard. Not the only thing I could compare it to, right? But we just rarely see these 5-color legends do too much in standard. So I haven't been surprised that this one hasn't shown up too much.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Big splashy fun card though. You know, can't deny that.
All right. Yours, I think, was a little more controversial than my pick, though, the one you started with.
True, but I can say unequivocally that I haven't really seen this show up as much as I thought it might in standard, and that is the Soul Stone. I figured that we'd see some of this in standard just because like mono black and black X deck would probably just like throw in one copy, but I think this has resolved against me one time in standard this season. I've played it a few times, but it's just a rock. It is just a rock. So you shouldn't fear it, I guess. In Commander, it's got a really high play rate right now. It's still holding a decent price, and I think again that's mostly due to Commander. But in Standard, this was just not a card you even in Mono Black or like Green Black Demons or something. You didn't really have to feel the need to play this card. It turned out.
I think the issue on this card is it's a victim of the metagame itself, right? There's not that many what I would call slower black based decks. I think even the one deck I played it in recently was like a mono black Ugin control whatever type deck.
That sounds fun.
And that's kind of like the only one where I really leaned on this card, because the other black decks on turn 2 were still wanting to do other things. They're removing stuff. Sometimes they're playing 2/1 mana things. They're still playing Deep Cavern Bats. And coming up, we're still going to have we know that there's Super Shredder down the road. There's Mai from Avatar.
She looks amazing too. Yeah, she looks really good.
So a lot of the decks are just wanting to do other things early. And the mid-rangey decks are actually kind of black for removal, blue for creatures. So they're not really wanting to spend their mana even on turn 2, because they could flash in a thing and tap your stuff, right? They could kill something and play their 1/1 or whatever, right? There's other things they could just be doing other than just playing that. So I think if we get into a world where there's serious control decks, then this probably with black in them, then like this maybe makes an appearance. But right now, that's not where we are.
Right now, the control deck is blue-white, and mid-range is mostly, it feels like, been chased out of the format. I mean, you see an Unholy Annex deck every now and again, but, where'd the mono-white Caretaker's Talent deck go? It's hardly anywhere. That's because mono-red is, for all intents and purposes, the best deck because it beats the VV deck. And the VV deck is the closest thing to mid-range. The problem is it just has a better clock than every other mid-range deck. Yeah, so it's just going to pound the other mid-range stuff. It feels combo-y,
Yeah, VV's almost more of an aggro combo deck in a way, right?
True.
Get some early chip damage and then just finish you off on like turn 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like mid-range decks that grind out value and stuff just aren't particularly in vogue because the format's really hostile to them. So I'm not really surprised to see this card not necessarily fail, just like not show up too much. And it might be an indicator too. We got this in this last set, this coming up set. We're getting a Haro reprint almost. The lands don't come into play untap. We're getting a Rampant Growth reprint effectively in this set, like a strictly better Rampant Growth because it's a lesson in the Avatar set. So I think that Wizards has seen that, this format is not necessarily conducive to ramp. Maybe that means it's safer to print these 2-mana ramp pieces. And maybe that means ramp can catch up or whatever, but that certainly wasn't the case when it came to this card. It did not help.
I'm all for a good experiment. We'll see where it goes.
Exactly. So maybe this will, this combined with some other good ramp will help mid-range live again. But until VV's banned, which will be a couple of days at this point, until VV's banned, I don't know how good mid-range is. So this card just didn't catch on. But that said, another mid-range card coming up next on your end. What was your next pick?
Actually, before we get to that, reminder, everybody, that I guess you're going to be watching us on either Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll be doing the streamer event. So you should come to either of our channels and come watch us play.
That's right.
But yeah, so Anti-Venom. horrifying healer. Like, this is the fact that it can return something was really interesting.
Yeah.
And the fact that it can't die effectively, not easily, to damage is really cool. But nothing playing effectively mono white, because you got to have 4 white pips or whatever to cast it. It just isn't really the thing right now. Like, all the mono white is just, lots of the mono white are playing 20 or 21 land because they're just playing the little gain life guys. Right?
Yeah.
That's the deck you're seeing.
That's the mono white deck right now.
Yeah. The other white decks that can go long and get that type of mana are either some type of like what I would call maybe mid-rangey tokens type builds.
Yeah, you can't take talent decks.
Yeah, Collector's Cage, whatever. Like, this doesn't really fit those types of builds. They're not trying to do that. They want to do something bigger to end the game. The Reanimator decks are just playing Superior Spider-Man. Right?
Yeah.
So they're not even bothering with this guy. So it's just like, it just doesn't have a home, ultimately.
Yeah, the Reanimator decks, we played some with this on stream one week, and honestly that was really fun. I think I even titled the Dank Jank for that, like, the Anti-Venom deck was too fun and I had to keep playing it, like something like that.
Yeah.
It was a great experience, man, because you have like Split Skin Doll and Collector's Vault, and a couple of other things that'll let you discard and mono white. So you can get back like an Overlord of the Mistmores or a Zatalpa or a Knights of Round. Like there's some good options.
Yeah, that's
to
what I'd be
reanimate with
trying
this.
to do.
Exactly. It was a lot of fun. There are games where you just break everything open with Knights of Round. It's a fun deck, but if you're going to play Reanimator in the format right now, it's like Arden, Superior Spider-Man, dot deck is the best way to do it. And if you come up against that deck with the Anti-Venom deck, like nothing you do is as strong as the stuff they do. So there's just no reason if you're going to go through the trouble of playing Reanimator to play this at the end of the day, if you want to be competitive.
I'd even make one extra argument against the card is that it's a victim of the metagame and the fact that everybody's worried about the Reanimator deck. Yeah. So it makes this half of its abilities that it can do not do anything.
Yeah, this is effectively a best of one card. If you play this in best of 3, you will be assaulted with ghost vacuums and stuff, games 2 and 3, every single time. It is sort of difficult to play Reanimator right now, but that said, the Arden deck is a real deck in Standard. You know, it's all over MTGO.
Oh, sure, so, but it can just win on turn 4.
Right. Like if you're going to be the Reanimator deck, you have to be the deck that wins the turn you go off. And this deck isn't necessarily that. Not really.
Yeah.
But it's a cool card. I dream of a format where this is a playable Magic card. That's my kind of format.
Oh man, your next one I think gets you yelled at a little bit.
Yep. This I believe is the biggest L of this entire video, and I will take that L. Hand it to me.
Honestly, I'd argue that it might be our only true L.
I'm looking at the rest of the list, and I really don't see one. If there is another one, well, you've explained yours away, and it makes sense. You were right you'll be vindicated with yours. My other L is a very tiny L. It's a lowercase L. This one, capital L all day. This is Jackal, genius geneticist. This guy did stuff. You know, this guy's in the
it did deck. Stuff.
Yeah, very high win rates. Probably not as high of a play rate as it deserves, to be honest. But this deck is all over MTGO. It's winning challenges. It's getting top 8s, and yeah, I did say, if I'm not mistaken, that there are good lines with this card. I just wasn't sure how much faith I had in those lines. But it turns out those lines are consistent enough to win some games. So,
yeah, I remember early on, it was the first week the card came out, I think. I played a deck with it, and it wasn't, I think in the preseason or the streamer event, what we saw was people playing a lot of the expel creatures to try to keep growing it and doing the thing or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, well, what if I just don't do that? What if I just play quality stuff and can manipulate the counters or whatever? And it turns out that was fantastic. And then a couple weeks later, there's tons of people playing different versions of that have been iterated on that are all great. So it was just like, oh, we just didn't see the way to do it early on, I think was the issue.
It seems like all you're supposed to do is just add it to the existing like Simic Tempo deck with Ouroboros at the top end.
Yeah.
And not really change too much, you know, like those decks now they have all the same creatures they used to have. It's just, you have 4 Jackals in your 2-drop slot, and it just kind of works out.
Well, because if you copy even 2 things along the way, that's tons of value.
Yep, and you eventually, like, you have the potential to copy Ouroboros, and if you do that, the game is over.
Yeah.
Like, more or less. It's
almost on site.
Yeah, you know, more or less. It's demoralizing, if nothing else. And if they have one removal spell for an Oro, then they don't have it for the other Oro. So yeah, and leading up to the Aura board, they've copied 2 or 3 other creatures. So you've either used your removal or you haven't, and you know, either way. That deck puts people in like really weird situations. I've played against it a few times. The first time somebody resolved Jackal against me, I was like, okay, let's see if this works. And you know, I think they copied I think it was like a Paw Patch recruit or something. And I was like, oh, like just with that, I'm done. You know what I mean?
So, yeah. Now you target something, everything's getting 2 counters.
Everything's huge. Yeah. Including the Jackal, which that'll let you cast an Ouroboros and copy it quicker. So there's a lot of tricks in that deck. And Cynic was already good enough. So yeah, I was just plain flat out wrong with this one.
To be fair though, like I said, I didn't think the versions we saw early were it. And we were right. Just we didn't know this other one existed.
And for what it's worth, I think this ended up in my top 10 competitive cards or whatever. So I gave it some respect, but I thought people were going a little too gaga. But I think people were going just Lady Gaga enough over it. They were.
Yeah.
It turns out a lot of people were right that this was going to be a banger Magic card. So my bad, my blunder on that one.
I don't even know what that I'm gonna look up real quick what the value of that card was, because I think it actually started pretty crazy. And then what's
Oh yeah.
weird is now you can get them for like $1, even though they're super competitive.
Yep, they're relatively cheap. I noted
Yeah.
that too, and I don't really know why. I think Spider-Man as a whole is a relatively cheap Magic set, which is
Yeah.
weird because it probably wasn't opened like at all, but there's just no interest in it. So.
What it means though, generally, is a lot of those will end up being more expensive as we get into like a year and a half, 2 years down the road, since they're going to be standard legal for 3 years.
Yeah, and the set will be out of print by then. So true. But all right, let's move on to greener pastures. I will move past that giant L, the size of the whole scoreboard, and move on to, I believe, a W for you. Although I will say, this was an easier pick. This is a commander card through and through.
Oh, sure. Like the price was just nuts on this at the time. That's what threw me on this card. It's just there's no reason for a card like this to be this high. Like, what? Like, it was just like, why? But Impostor Syndrome, that's card we're talking about. 6 mana enchantment. If you connect with your opponent, you get to copy the creature. Fantastic. And the copy is not even legendary. Great.
Pretty
but
good
there
stuff.
was a point where this thing was like rocking $50
Yeah,
plus.
I thought I remembered it being about 50. That's
which
crazy.
Was insane. Like, why though? Like, it even now, I have been to 2 command fests. I have played at local stores. I have followed stuff online. This card isn't even like crushing it in Commander. So I'm like, why did anybody think this card was going to be worth that much?
Yeah, I have recently been on EDHREC looking at commanders that this card would go perfectly in, and it's not in the the played cards, you know. So,
and to be fair, I play casual commander where we go for like 12 turns and play dumb stuff, and like this doesn't even show up. So I don't understand. And in standard, I had one fun thing where I got to attack with Aurelia, and then I get to make Aurelia token just end the game. Which
it's nice.
Fantastic.
Because you keep getting new combat steps every time you make a new Aurelia. That's disgusting.
It was kind of like a fun accident, and it was great. But that's the only deck I've had where it remotely worked out. Every other deck I've tried it, I ended up cutting it, before I even finished the video I was making. So, yeah, it's a fine card. It's fun. Maybe it has a home somewhere in the future, but right now, ain't it?
Yeah.
It's just not.
Man, what's it? Do you have it in front of you? Like, what's it down to? Is it still like a $10 Magic card?
Yeah, it's like a $10 card, and that to me is more reasonable for a card like this.
Yeah, for like a commander special.
Yeah, it's a mythic. Yeah, that $9 to $10 feels reasonable to me, but that 40 to 50 was just crazy.
Yeah. Now the next card, my next pick is a thing that I have seen show up in commander decks, not out in the real world, but in a lot of commander decks on EDHREC. I see Peter Parker's camera, but I never ever see this in the arena, which is odd because people were excited to test this, if nothing else. But I don't know that I've played against this card even once. And I still think there probably are good things you can do with the camera in standard. It's a cheap artifact that copies abilities. And there's probably something for that to do. I don't want to completely hate on this card. I still have at least some faith in it, but yet to see it at any point in my Magic playing life since it came out. So I guess I was right. I haven't seen it show up anywhere, even in like league results or anything.
Yeah, this is one too where there was just a lot of hype around. I think it's a cheap artifact that I can copy a thing. So like it has to be playable. I've literally seen it twice played against me, and it did nothing significant either time.
Right.
So
it feels like even if they do resolve it, like it's probably not going to do much,
Yeah.
And make you play off curve.
This is one where there was just so much hype around it. Everybody was living in Magic Christmas land of like, I could do this, I could do this, I could copy this thing. I was like, okay, cool, but when? Right? Sure. What does the deck look like that really has that in it? And usually people couldn't give you an answer. So it's like, yeah, this isn't going to do anything.
I had a lot of people in comments basically say like, oh, you can copy the ETB on this 5-drop. And it's like, we have to have like 7 mana to do that. Wouldn't you rather just play your 5-drop when you have 5 mana?
Yeah, exactly.
Realistically, I don't think it works the way you want it to there.
Now, I will say this. There's some weird cards, which we'll talk about in our other videos we're going to record later today about Avatar stuff that can help ramp your mana.
Yeah.
And maybe this has a home then.
That's true.
But right now, ain't it?
Yeah, actually, I think this might be kind of fly in the Shrines deck a little bit.
Maybe.
You get to copy their triggered abilities when they happen and their ETB triggers.
Yeah.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
Shrines deck does not look great. So
That's also fair.
we'll move on to your next pick. Another one that I think has been good in Commander, but nowhere near standard, and that makes sense. What was your next card?
Man, I haven't even seen this much in Commander, but
Fair
the
enough.
rent is due.
Well,
And this has literally all the problems we talked about on that video, right? When are you leaving artifacts or creatures untapped to actually not lose this so you can get the value from it or whatever? Like you're either wanting to be aggressive and attack with those things, or you're playing some other reason you want those artifacts, right? Like it's just the way it is. Like it's been that way forever. Standard still remains to be that way. But again, people saw it. It was this cheap, low casting cost. They're
yeah,
like, oh, I'm going to realize all this value off this enchantment, and it's so hard to remove, and blah, blah, blah. But like, literally doesn't. And I tried at least 4 or 5 decks where I'm like, oh, this is the type of deck that, oh, here's a token deck. Maybe we can use it in here, whatever.
right.
A lot of times I'm just beating my opponent down before it matters.
Yeah,
Or they've swept the board. I've made a couple of tokens, and I don't want to play Renton's Due just to have it die because I'm not going to not attack with my creatures. You know, right? So
that is the more pressing issue at the time.
yeah,
That card draw is good. I had people tell me this is a 1 mana Phyrexian arena, and it's like
not even
it's
close.
not at all that. What are you looking
Not
at
even
right
close.
here? I mean, 1 mana and it says draw a card every turn is pretty exciting, but this is a lesson in resource management. Sometimes you do want to do other stuff with them cards, and especially in standard where it's just standard is a format of turns. Most competitive formats are. And you can't ever play this on turn one. This one drop can't be your one drop.
Never.
And that's annoying. And then by the time like turn 3 or 4 rolls around, you'd rather do other stuff with your mana. You're still in aggressive mode. And by the time you're out of aggressive mode, you don't need this, And even if you reach a stalemate with your opponent where they've begun to stabilize, they have blockers and blah, blah. Now you can't tap your guys down or whatever, like Rent is Due seems good, and maybe again Commander, like maybe it works there, but I actually think there's already too many really good white card draw effects that you'd rather put in your deck.
There was a red white deck I tried playing it in that played like Magda, the dude from Outlaws that has Menace, and then whenever you attack, you deal damage equal number of treasure people had, and you give them a treasure.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
that guy seems good.
Yeah. I was like, okay, all the stuff that makes treasure, but the reality is, even in that deck, I'm like, well, I could just sack treasure and make a dragon and just win.
Right.
Like, why am I just trying to draw cards here?
I have other stuff to do here,
It's just better uses.
I like having options or whatever, but I'm jumping over hoops every turn, jumping through hoops every turn just to make this card work, and like I don't need to.
And to think about how right we were. This thing was like $13 to $15 when we were talking about it.
Hype, yeah.
You don't even have to pay 50 cents for these now.
Wow, yeah, pre-order prices are pre-order prices, but dude, that's a precipitous drop.
No one is playing that card.
That's wild. All right, the next one, my next pick here was, I think, the lowercase L that I'll take, and that is Norman Osborn / Green Goblin. Now, I have seen this in builds from time to time on League, and I think even a couple of challenges have top 8'd with a kind of VV-less, Cauldron-less VV Cauldron deck that plays, Marauding Mako, Steam Core Scholar, Tercellite, Shatter, Fear of Missing Out. And they'll often play Norman Osborn in the creature base as like a 2-of. I've seen this deck show up maybe 3 or 4 times. It's not super prevalent, but Norman Osborn's been here. Now, this kind of goes to what you were saying at the top of the video, that like some of these cards were popular for a couple of weeks. People tried them out, and then they kind of got dumped from their respective decks. And I think that is the story with Norman. I don't think that Norman really lasted in these decks, but towards the beginning of the season, he's a fairly popular pick for these Grixis Light discard decks. And those might be better after Vivi gets banned, and Vivi's no longer an option. Soul Cauldron's not as strong. Maybe we go back to playing Norman in these decks. So for what it's worth, we could be a week away from Norman seeing some more play, but the last couple of weeks has not been as good as the first couple of weeks that this card was around.
I'm with you. I don't even think those decks need them. I think it was a cool experiment. People wanted to try it because it was the new card.
Yeah.
But I just don't even know if those decks need those right now. We see some decks still that are playing Is It without VV, so they don't have to worry about the graveyard.
Yep.
And they've already gotten away from this.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
even know where it belongs. And again, this is a card we were talking about that was $30, $35 on a lot of websites at
Yeah,
the
this thing
time.
was crazy. People were
Yeah.
really excited about this. I think that as far as my comment section goes, a little at least, this is the card people were most excited to sleeve. Like this is the
Yeah.
thing people wanted to play with the most. And I mean, it looks like a fun card again, especially fun commander or something like that. But in standard, it tried to take, but the spaghetti wasn't quite cooked. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
noodle didn't stick to the wall in this case. So
And it's under $10 now, right?
yeah.
So which is still a reasonable price.
Yeah, I mean I wouldn't
Still
order that.
playable.
That's too expensive for me to order.
Yeah,
You know
even if
what I
you
mean?
just want to play the backside with the goblin just to be able to take advantage of discarded cards or whatever, like
Yeah.
cool. Reasonable card, nothing wrong with it. But definitely not what I would say was warranting the hype that everybody was bringing at the time. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, this really
Not
is
it.
the story of Spider-Man. Like there were maybe 3 cards in all of Spider-Man that people could agree to be hyped about, and like none of those cards really did anything. And this is one of them. Like even the cards that people were actually excited about, there were few and far between, but even the ones people were happy about, they didn't really go on to do much, So
Yeah,
I think that Norman is a great example of that. But the next card I would say is the only thing resembling an L on your side of this list.
absolutely.
But however, I will acknowledge that when we had our conversation, you explained why this would probably appear to be an L for a couple of months. And I think that you were bang on about that. So what
Yeah.
card is it?
So multiversal passage. Wow, I can speak magic.
It is
Uh,
really difficult to say that. I have a hard time saying it too. Don't worry.
but the thing about this card is, one, at the time we talked about it, it was pushing over $20, right? And that usually means, okay, this is a land that people are considering going to be staple in a bunch of decks. And while there are some decks that need it because they don't have the convenient shock lands, which we talked about at the time, it hasn't been as many as I think people expected. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of decks still doing without it. Some that just aren't playing enough land to need that like 25th, 26th land with the multicolors, or can't afford to take the damage in some cases. And we still have a lot of other multi-lands that make it to where you don't necessarily need this in a lot of things. Now, anytime I'm playing 2 colors that don't have the shock land or 3 color decks, then yeah, it makes sense to go ahead and play it. But I think we're also, hell, even with Avatar, we're already seeing other lands we're going to want to play that might squeeze 1 or 2 of these out of your list potentially.
True.
So I think by the time we get to where everybody has shock lands, you're going to see even less of these. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be until February when we get Lorwyn at least.
Yeah.
So we're still a ways off from getting those. But even now, these things are getting close to $5 in value if you want to pick them up. So
they're about the same price as a Fabled Passage, give or take.
So a big drop off there from the hype everybody expected.
It's like, as far as pre-order prices go, I think these were $15, $20 at some point. And so it is a pretty big drop, but a drop that I kind of expected. Interesting story on these cards is that towards the beginning of the season, you would see 4 copies of these in various decks. To your point about 3-color decks, yeah, I put them in 3-color decks, but there really aren't a whole lot of competitive top tier 3-color decks. You don't see the need for these.
Jeskai, Control, the Sultai Reanimator deck. And that's
to a degree, yeah.
Kind of it. There's not it's not much else.
Yeah, sometimes Arden goes Grixis, but very light splash.
Yeah.
So, as far as this card goes, at the beginning of the season, I'm a junkie for MTGO, like league and challenge results. I look at them every day. And you'd see 4 copies of this card in certain color combinations. Nowadays, if you see any, you'll see 2.
Yep.
Now, when we get when we get Steam Vents or whatever, we get the black-red dual land, we get Blood Crypt. You'll see 4 Blood Crypt in a Rakdos deck, whereas you'll only see 2 of this. So we were wondering, is this interchangeable with a shock land? It appears to be 50% interchangeable with a shock land, exactly 50%.
That's what the numbers say so far.
Exactly. So you'll still see 2 in some decks, and you'll even see them show up in like VV decks from time to time. It's probably the most popular thing to put it in, play percentage wise. But it is telling that the numbers have gone down to half of what they were at the beginning of the season. And again, you're right. Your original point when we had our first discussion was once we get shock lands, these probably won't see any play whatsoever. And I think that in a couple of months we'll be in that world and you will have been proven correct. So I don't even really count this as an L your way.
There's an interesting thing here, though, with this land that I think because like you're saying, the deck list that we're seeing is the question becomes, is having the versatility of having this untapped for one color forever.
Yeah.
Significantly better than playing like a tapped Restless Land, right?
Right.
And in some decks, people just realize like, oh, I'd rather just have the creature land later, and I can get 2 colors. Like,
it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that tap lands are harder to excuse than they've ever been in standard. Like
Sure.
I feel like tap lands are like worse than they've ever been right now. You have to play on curve. So I've been including fewer restless stuff, fewer creature lands myself, but that's just a me thing. I can see where a lot of people are like, especially in like best of one or whatever. Like sometimes you don't know what to expect, and it's good to have the versatility of that creature land.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I will give you a passage on this one. I guess I've been waiting to get to that joke. Yeah. So I think that you will be proven right once we do get the other 5 or whatever it is, Shocklands all day.
And what was your last one here?
That leaves us with one here, and I will take my victory lap in standard at the very least on Spider Punk. Mono red is a super tight deck list, it turns out. Yep. And control is not enough of a presence to devote sideboard slots to this in the mono red deck yet. Yeah, maybe we'll get there at some point, but you're not as worried about blue-white control in your mono red deck right now. You just kill them dead before they can, establish control is the idea. Your deck's really fast. But at the moment, so far, we just haven't really needed this card in standard. There are better 2s to play. And this is a card that I like to point at all through Spider-Man Avatar previous season. We've seen a number of good red 2-drops in that set that people are like, oh, this could be mono red playable. And I just think, well, Spider-Punk's not mono red playable. So you've got to be really, really good to be a playable mono red 2-drop. That said, I'm not excited. I'm not like necessarily surprised to see that this didn't see too much play in standard, mostly because at the end of the day, in practical gameplay function, this is a 2-mana 2/1 haste. And that's kind of it. You got to be better than that.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
I think Spider Punk or Kreza, if you play on an MTG Arena with it, is a card where you only is good. I wouldn't even say good, useful in the spider-based deck. If it's not that, then this doesn't have a home. And I think we kind of mentioned that like in that specific deck, fine, true drop, does what it does, gives your bigger cards later the ability to just swing and do things. Great. But you're not going to play this in anything else.
Right? Yeah, not really.
The other 2-drops you will play in non-spider decks are just going to be better.
That's the problem. Is everyone was like, oh, it's a fine 2-drop even if you're not playing spiders. And it's like, are you sure about that? We got like Emberheart Challenger in standard right now. We got Slickshot Show Off and a number of other 2-drops that, fear of missing out. That are just heads and shoulders above what this card can do in an aggressive deck. I think people forget that, like,
well, not even not aggressive deck, like you're saying, with fear of missing out. Like it fuels your graveyard, it draws you cards. Like they're just
be a delirium mid range.
Yeah,
exactly. So it doesn't go in anything. Like fear of missing out that can go in mid range, or it can go in these kind of like, is it aggro? It matters to discard piles, Yeah. Whereas this only wants to go in aggressive decks, and even in aggressive decks, it is not aggressive enough compared to the other things you could be playing. So, yeah, just not great for standard and not good for other older formats necessarily. I'm not even sure it's great for Commander.
No,
I don't know.
Again, if you have a spider-based deck, great. If you don't, then no. I mean, it's kind of that easy,
more or less.
Yeah.
But I think people thought it would be more complicated. And I think that people often forget how good you have to be at any mana value. At 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, how good you have to be to see play, even in just standard, let alone Pioneer, Modern, whatever. So this one just didn't really have the chops at the end of the day, but didn't have legs, one could say.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry to spin so many bad jokes at the end. I'm going to try to get all my Spider-Man puns in.
It didn't bite you in the butt. So
no. Nice. You, sir. Simply venomous you are.
Yep.
But anyway,
I think what you meant to say is that joke was smooth as silk, but
nice. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. But let me thorax you a question. Are we done?
That was rough. That was rough.
Ugh.
Yep.
Do you think we've about brought it home for this one?
I think so, man. I think so. We honestly overall didn't do too bad though, and all things considered. I think we were right on most of the cards that were overhyped here. Seriously.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Jackal was going to be one of my biggest mistakes in the history of this series. But apart from that,
to be fair though, I was with you because the early versions were not good.
Right. Like, all the stuff we saw early on was kind of jank.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate jank, but
sure.
You gotta put on your spike hats sometimes. And I didn't think it would be a spiky card, but good Lord.
I think it's going to be a standard staple for probably as long as it's standard legal. Too.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. Yep.
Yeah, it's real good.
Agreement. But we have got another grouping of cards to look at over on your channel. We're going to go do the underrated Spider-Man picks that we made, which is a little bit spicier when you think about it.
Yeah, we probably missed a lot more over there. So if you want to come laugh at us, come hang out.
I think it could have been worse. Put it that way. But yeah, come over to PowrDragn's channel. Subscribe to him if you haven't done it yet. Everyone needs more subscribers, but especially the hardest working person I've ever met. Like I always say, like the hardest working Magic content creator, it's surpassed that.
Actually,
I think you literally work 200 hours a week.
For people who want some extra different stuff, if you just generally want deck help, I've started a series just breaking down the basics on deck building, and people seem to enjoy that. So come on over. Actually, we're making it part of our Aggro University series, which we also have merch on the channel. So, Yeah,
and I really need that shirt. I want that shirt pretty bad. I've seen you wear your merch before here at the place.
Yeah.
And I have been like, oh, that looks nice. This is the first time I've been like, man, I want that one. So
yeah, I'm working on some things.
I need to get some merch. I've been on for 10 years and I've yet to have merches. I need merches.
Talk to me. We'll get it done.
Don't promise them that. They've been wanting it too. So I do need money.
Well, they want us to do other things too, but we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, we got some other stuff too that we got some irons in the fire. But in any case, come on over to his channel. We will be doing that over there. And very soon we're going to be talking about some over and underrated avatar cards too.
Yes.
We want to talk about some new stuff. So subscribe to both of our channels. If you haven't done it yet, go ahead and do that. It's important. Like the video. The button is shaped roughly like this. That's a good visual representation right there. You can also hype the video. Apparently that does do something. I don't know. Give it a shot. And then we have a Patreon. Oh, go ahead.
Let me say this. I was looking in my YouTube metrics the other day. Apparently they do send notifications out to everybody who actually hits the notification bell. So,
wow.
So you should probably do that if you want to make sure you don't miss any of our videos.
I was going to say, like, who actually hits the notification bell? Go ahead and do it. I was saying this the other day. Who actually subs to YouTubers anymore? Well, be the first person to sub to a YouTuber in 4 years and sub to both of our channels today.
To be fair,
that would mean a lot to us.
Especially since they messed up how they share stuff or whatever now. Yeah. Now it's good to have my subscribers. I can just click on to the subscribe channel and see all my stuff.
Yeah, I have subscribed to 3 people in the last week. So I'm with you on that. I still sub, mostly because YouTube is what I mostly watch. It's seriously my television at this point. But yeah, we got a Patreon too. It's patreon.com/SBMTG. $1 a month is all I ask for power. No one else on the entire internet offers you power nowadays. And no one else offers you anything for $1 either. McDonald's wants you to pay like $3 for a crappy sandwich. I want you to pay $1 for power.
Dude, even McDonald's messed up and they had to come out and be like, hey, you right. We do need to have a value menu. So we went back and added one after the fact.
And honestly, every time I pass McDonald's in the last couple of weeks, it's stacked. Nobody had the Crystal, nobody at the PK, everybody at the McDonald's. So I guess good job to their marketing team. I've still got a bunch of free fries left over from the McDonald's promotion that I'll probably never actually use. They know what they're doing, but anyway, you could get a McDonald's fry, a small McDonald's fry for $1.69, a small fry, or you could join the Patreon for $1. That's all it takes. 1 month, $1. That's crazy. That's if you want to support the channel, it's a great deal. But anyway, we're going to get out of here for now. I am Dev from the place, PowrDragn. You want to tell them anything else? You got anything else to?
Nah, they know where to find me at this point. Come over, have some fun, and we got a lot of content coming out. So,
all right, y'all. Well, in that case, join us over on his channel here in just a couple minutes because we're probably going to put these videos out roughly the same time. And I will catch you cats later. I'm Dev from the place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.